Hi everyone, hope you are doing well. In this video, we are going to set up an IDE, that is Integrated Development Environment. And the IDE which we are going to use is IntelliJ. And why exactly IDE is needed? IDE is needed so that we can have lots of features for development. For example, auto suggestion, for example, building, compiling, lot of things you get with the help of IDE. Sure, you can go ahead and code any on any editor, like you can code on Notepad by writing a code in a .java file, compiling the code, converting the code to a class file, and then running it. You can find how to compile a code using a Java file to a class file and then run the class file on internet a lot. So those things you could do, but what you will not get is things like auto suggestion, things like working with multiple files, things like working with 10 different files and still being able to compile and run the code faster. So those things you can do with the help of IDE. Now there are multiple IDEs available online and people have been using IDE since very long. The most popular IDE which used to be there earlier was Eclipse. And Eclipse was very popular back in 2010-12, and even now I suppose it should be popular enough. But back then it was very popular and people used to use Eclipse for their Java development. So that is one which you could use by going to the Eclipse website and downloading and running it. In fact, I also used to use Eclipse. Then there was second IDE which used to be very popular, and even now again, I don't know the exact numbers, but the other IDE which is very popular for Java development is the Spring Tool Suite, or we call it as STS. So you can go to the Spring Tool Suite website and download the IDE and run it. So you can even do that. And basically it's very helpful for a Spring based project, but then you can definitely go ahead and code the normal Java programs as well in the Spring Tool Suite. The third one, which is very popular, is the Visual Studio Code. A lot of people code on VS Code because it's very lightweight. In fact, VS Code can be used for coding any language and any framework. You just use the plugin and then you can code on the Visual Studio Code. People code Python, people code front-end development, a lot of things people do on the Visual Studio Code. And the fourth one, which is very popular and the popularity is quite high, and that's what I have seen since 2017-18. I've seen almost everyone using IntelliJ whenever they want to do any front-end development. So for that, people use IntelliJ. And that's what we are going to configure and run here. Because of the popularity, because there are too many shortcuts, there are too many ways using which you can run IntelliJ. So that's why I'm choosing this. But definitely you can go ahead and choose any of the other three options which I said. So let's quickly get started and set up IntelliJ on our machine. So this is my Windows machine where I need to install IntelliJ. You can of course go and search for Eclipse, download, and you can go ahead and install Eclipse. Likewise, you can search for Spring Tool Suite, download, and you can go ahead and download the Spring Tool Suite that is similar to the Eclipse. It's a green color theme base, but it's quite good actually. So you could use that as well. Likewise, you can go ahead and search for Visual Studio Code and you can download the Visual Studio Code. So it's also very popular and many people use it. So you can also set up that. Now, we'll set up something which we have been talking about since the beginning of this video. That is how to set up IntelliJ. For that, we'll just search for IntelliJ, download, and we'll search for Community Edition. So there are two editions of IntelliJ. One is the Community Edition, which is free, and the other is the paid edition. We'll use the Community Edition, that is the free one. Let's search for it. You see here we have idea, which we want. Let's click on download. We don't want ultimate, we want the Community Edition. So we have the Community Edition here. We'll click on download and it is getting downloaded. Once this download is done, we can click on open and then click on yes. Then all we need to do is click on next. We'll create a shortcut icon on the desktop and we'll add, we don't need to update the path variable. It's okay. and will not create any associates. We'll just click on next and install. And then we'll wait for the installation to finish. Now you can see that the installation is done. And now we can just click on Run IntelliJ Community Edition and click on Finish. You can also find the same in the desktop because we have selected to have a shortcut on the desktop. So now let's just wait for it to get launched. We'll just click on this and click on Continue. We'll not send anything to the server. Now we'll just create one simple project and verify everything is correct or not. Let's create a new project. It will try to detect Java installed on our machine. So it is able to detect that the Java is already installed. We'll create a project name as Hello Project. Remember, you can name anything you want to, and we'll have one folder on our machine. I'll create a folder here in the C drive. I'll name it as code, so that all the code can go inside this one. And here the project will be, let's think what's the project name? Seller card or items card. That should be fine. Items card is something which we want to have, or yeah, that should be okay. And we'll generate a sample code here, and then we'll just click on create. And it will create a sample project for us. You can see a sample project is created, and now we'll just try to run it. The first time it will take some time to get everything indexed, but then you just need to click on this play button and things will run for you. So now the code will build by itself. It will parse the file, and then it will print the values from 1 to 5. So you can see from value 1 to value 5 are being printed here. So that's what happens here. Now you see here, this is a simple Java based program, which I'm able to run using an IDE. What if I have to run a project which is a Maven based? So let's create a Maven based project. We'll click on a new project here, and this time we'll name it Awesome Cart. We can name it anything we want to. We'll make it Maven based. And in the Maven based, we'll have some group ID. We can name it com.anubhav.awesomecart, and it's a Maven based project, as you can see. Now I can click on create, and this time let's just replace with this one. It will create a Maven based project for us. So it will have one pom.xml where you can have everything related to your dependency management, so that you can have more and more dependencies added to your project. So this is for the dependency management, and this is the main file where you will have all your code. We will disable the onboarding tips. You can see that the plugins are getting downloaded. Let's just leave it for some time now. You can see that the sync is done. Now I will just run using the run option, and you can see the same code is running now. So you can clearly see that the Maven based project is also running fine. Here I can add more and more dependencies. So this is a basic structure of a POM. Just below it, we can add dependency using the tag called as dependencies. And here I can add as and when the dependencies are required. So it's very simple to add. We will see some of the dependencies to be added in the upcoming videos. For example, we'll add the database dependencies, we'll add the Spring dependency, we'll add JUnit dependency, we'll add all those dependencies here. Let's just add one dependency in this particular video so that we get a sense out of things. So to add a JUnit dependency, I'll just go on internet and search for JUnit Maven dependency, and it will give me a link. Here, I'll just choose the first one and copy the dependency link. Then I'll come back here and paste the dependency. You see, I have pasted the dependency here. I can click on Ctrl S, and then I need to click here and refresh so that this dependency gets downloaded into the project. So all the Maven commands are internally getting run. We don't have to manually run all these commands. Now I'll just go to the test folder here and I'll create a file, let's say main test. You can name anything you want to. Generally, the tradition is to have test at the end. And let's put public void test. And on top of the test, we can add something like @test. When we do that, you get this option here. You can click on run test and your JUnit test will run. You can see that the JUnit test is running fine. That's it from my side for this video. In this video, we were able to set up an IntelliJ IDE by downloading and setup. And we also compared various other IDE options. At least we talked about them. And then we were able to set up a Maven based project here in our IntelliJ IDE. Here in the pom.xml, we added the JUnit dependency. Then we wrote some code. Actually, there was a template code already written to print the values from 1 to 5. We were able to run the code from the main, as well as we wrote the unit test by adding @test. The test method is important to test the main code. We'll do all those things later, but you get the crux that we are able to add the Maven dependency here, and then we are able to run the tests as well. And this will come in very handy. And you can see that I don't have to remember all the Maven commands. Till now, we have not talked about the Maven commands. We'll talk about them later. But you can see that I'm able to run the Maven based project as well using the IDE directly. So I don't have to remember and memorize those commands. So that's the beauty of the IDE overall. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. In the upcoming videos, we'll talk about further things like setting up Git on local. And then we'll talk about setting up Azure on our system. And likewise, we'll basically build the CI/CD pipeline and then lot of things so that the things are streamlined, and whenever you commit a code, the changes get deployed to Azure. So lots of things are upcoming and a lot of interesting things are going to be talked about. But for this video, that's it. Till the next time, bye.